Hello and welcome. Good afternoon. Today, December, what is today? The 12th of 2018. For Millennials Trip to Toe Travel Experience. Say that 10 times fast. My name is Kim Lantis. I'll be your host today. Today, joining me are two of our UI and UX designers, Yvonne Lopez, as well as Daniela Unsueta. Hi, girls. Perfect. So as we continue, before we continue actually, I would just like to present the rest of our UX team here at Nearsoft. Yvonne and Daniela actually are just part of a much larger team. There they are on the screen. And so we just offer the service of UX and UI to help you make your applications all the better for your users. So let's just take a look real quick at what we'll be doing today. Our time together, we're going to first get to know more about the millennials that we're talking about. Who are these people? And of course, how US millennials book their activities. What is the process that they're following? We would like to explore booking activities, experiences, what they're feeling, what that experience is like for them. And of course, ways of living out these experiences with booking websites. How you can make your website a better experience for such individuals. And then of course, that's the better bottom line for you, right? And we'll have the takeaways and this very special Q&A session. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask during today's webinar, feel free to put those here in our chat. You can also hit us up on Twitter. There's the handle at Nearsoft UX webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. Yvonne, why don't you tell us who are millennials and what is the profile of the person we're actually talking about today?
Hello. Let's start talking about what the millennials are. The me generation are the young people actually that think before anyone else. They think about themselves. They know their needs and they don't trust anyone because their needs are very known by themselves. Let's talk about the users we are going to investigate in this usability. This investigation. The profile we are talking about are US millennials in this case that are about 25 years and 40 years old that travel more than 3 times a year. And why they are important for a travel industry. Millennials are the 82% the one taking vacations, and 72 of them say they would like to spend on experiences. So let's take a little bit of look to the results of the investigation.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and tell us, Daniela, I believe that this was your investigation. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was correct. Hi, I'm Daniela, and I'm the UX designer. What we did was card sorting to know more about how millennials book their activities. We did this card sorting to evaluate the information and architecture of the site. As we know, we investigate some pages like Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, and Google Trips. In this place, what we did was a journey map, and it was to take into account what millennials do to have control in the websites and how do they feel when they were not feeling in control. So the first step was thinking of what they will do and how they will feel. In this case, they felt excited because it was to have new unique experience and to try something new when they book a new experience based on where they were going, like outdoor activities or an insider version of the place they will go to. The other one, they felt curious and anxious about it because as a millennial, they are explorer of everything else. And in this case, they were the explorer of this trip. As they did was a website launchpad where they seek for recommendations and they do some research about them so they could see like ratings and recommendations in comments below the pages where they booked the travel trips. And after that, they felt determined because they were ready to start to be their own travel agent. In this case, they prefer to be their own travel agent rather than have a real travel agent from another website because By doing this, they could have things planned depending on their budget, and also they could see what was available on the internet. Then later on, they will feel anxious about it because this will be like a problem for them because they will feel anxious of depending either on the budget or the itinerary based on the dates and offers the website gives them, like Airbnb or Booking.com. In this case, they would rather prefer planned trips than random trips because they don't have really all the spare time people think millennials have. I mean, we work, and by working, we don't have all the dates free. So in this case, after examining this, we'll have a breaking point where they change all their minds from a booking website and go just directly to the destination. Why? Because they would like to feel like a local instead of a tourist. This to get activities ideas from websites and just find all these experiences in a cheaper way. This because they will give you a new cultural shock, and not only a negative cultural shock, but a positive cultural shock to give them more meaning to their trip and get a sense of the place.
Can we go back to that, the last slide there on the journey map, please? Perfect. I personally found this to be kind of interesting. First of all, when we look at who these millennials are, when you gave us the introduction, Yvonne, I was kind of surprised that I think it's assumed that you hear the buzzword millennial and it's like, oh, this 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid. But the reality is it's even someone like myself, born in the 80s up to, 40 years of age. And we look at this map and you can see that there's this series of ups and downs, right, of this journey. But I think it falls back to this idea of what you were saying, Ivana. We have this perception that we know ourselves better than anyone else could know us. We have our preferences. And so we're looking for something that we get to hand pick, essentially. Is that what I'm seeing here on this map?
Yeah, actually, it's really important to consider that millennials are the totally customization and personalization generation. They want anything at their own shape, and they feel like they want to be in control in all the experience and everything that is on their destinies. They want to take everything by their hands. That's why they prefer to look by the activities by themselves over take another agent for define the travel experience.
Okay, thank you. So if we could move ahead, there we go. I think in this next slide, I think Yvonne, you'll actually be talking to us as well. Is that right? Where exactly does technology play a role in this, other than the experience of searching for our own travel ideas? What happens after the fact?
So as you know, we millennials are born in the technology era. So for us, the technology is part of our lifestyle. For us, the part that technology plays on a booking experience is that we like to see the experiences online. We do our research before planning a trip to see if there are any activity we want to take a look around. Next, please. One of the quotes that one of the users said was, when researching for activity, I use social media as first or second step, but not the final decider. It's part of the process. Why they use the social media for is because they don't trust in the booking website. They prefer to look for normal people like you and I that had the experience, just to confirm that it's actually what they want. For example, some of the users that we interview say that they don't like to share the experience on the social media, but they like to take a look of other trips that their friends has, or if they want to travel to Japan, they search on Instagram for the hashtag Japan to see what activities are there. So they verify if that is actually the real thing, not actually on a booking or travel site. Another quote is, social media has become a big part of my travel. Oh, I want to do what she did on her Instagram. It's something that it takes like influence on their decision while travel. They see, I don't know, a cuisine, and they prefer to go to this place to taste this food instead to go to the I don't know, Tokyo Tower or any place that is really popular. They prefer to take like feel like insider on the experience of being traveler, because they feel like they want to be unique, so they want to experience this individual activity by themselves.
Great, thank you. So, as we have an idea of now what millennials are hoping for and looking for and how they're influenced, what could we do, Daniela, to help our website or our apps hit this market harder? What's next?
So what's next for your new website or app? We have 5 simple improvements. One will be let your offers be available for them. Why? Because millennials like to have things planned. Even though we have the reputation of being millennials and just doing the things at the last minute, what we want to have is to have everything according to what the dates fit our schedule. So if you put an offer that doesn't fit our schedule, we won't be holding on about it. The second one will be testimonials. Stories told by real people will work for us as a trustworthy tool. This because it's better for us to know more about the place in real time rather than just seeing photos and videos that are already old enough not to be updated. Number 3 will be let your stars shine. As testimonials, it also works the rating and the recommendations that are in the section below from your website. So you will better have your rating stars at the top, so we can look for options based on what based on what other people think, and in that kind of know the experience of how they feel about it, and not just seeing all the photos as said before.
So the ratings and the reviews really need to take center stage here.
Yeah, because normally what you do after booking an experience or a hotel or a trip, you see all the recommendations and the ratings at the bottom part. So mostly people think that doesn't matter, but it really does. So
Okay.
it's better.
Thank you.
And number 4 will be authentic. Offer activities that makes them want to share new experience to the world, and also to make them feel that they are going to a unique activity, that they are the only ones who will experience that thing, even if it's not. I mean, they would like to feel like unique either for the trip and for them.
Do you have any examples of what types of activities these could be?
It could be like outdoor activities, or also even though they have like tourist guide, what they will do normally is to search for local people and ask them what they usually do. So maybe for local people it will be like normal to do typical things, but for them will be like a cultural shock, and that will give them like new experiences.
Yeah, like I could totally appreciate this one a lot based off of my travels, which sadly are somewhat limited, but being originally from the United States and now living here in Mexico, like I can think like we're in northern Mexico in the state of Sonora, but I could think like, I don't know, an activity of like make your own tortillas or those types of things, like kind of off the grid, more authentic than
yeah, it seems normal for us, but for others it's like new and unique experiences.
Right.
And last but not least, get your toolbox. Millennials will be willing to take your booking app everywhere they go, just to follow up their activities instead of sharing the trips. Why? As Yvonne said, technology is not only just to share your experiences, but also to follow them. So if you want them to get your website or your app in the way, just try to link all your website to other things like Google Trips or Google Maps to your website, so they can be easily follow up what they will do during the day.
Perfect, thank you. So let's go ahead. We're coming to the end of our webinar today. So why don't we just wrap this up, the strongest takeaways from today's talk. Please, how do U.S. millennials book their activities and what can we do with this information?
Okay, first of all, remember, experience is everything for millennials. They want to feel this cultural shock, so they want to be the ones that can share the experience to be unique. Also, number two, make them feel like locals. If you're going to suggest an attraction, preferably suggest something that is going to make them feel like they are experiencing something. For example, let's say to learn how to prepare a specific like cuisine.
From the region?
Yeah. So something like they are part of this culture right now. Something that they could never going to live maybe in another moment. So that's really important for them while booking for an experience.
Okay, so number 3 will be technology as a guide. As I said before in our toolbox, millennials will not only think that technology will help them share their experience, but also follow every activity, and in that case, have a unique experience. And number 4, let them be in charge of your website or app so they can customize everything they want and be their own travel agent.
Right. On that, let them be in charge is UI and UX. I have a question. What are some steps to making our apps simpler in that sense?
Our simple steps could be like usability testings based on what millennials do in this case. You have a user persona, so you would rather have your a usability testing or a cart sorting as I did, so you can follow up what we really need as millennials or as a travelers, junkies in this case.
Thank you. Okay, so we're coming up to our Q&A section. So if you have any questions, go ahead and send a Twitter or type it right here in the chat box. We actually do have a question in the chat box, ladies. This actually 2 questions. So let's go first with Michael. Hi, Michael. Michael is asking or says, it's really interesting your point on integrations, doing more through apps connected to my own app. I wonder what type of integrations are booming right now. So you already mentioned Google Maps as well as Google, I forget the other, Trips. Thank you. So why are those booming and what others might they want to pay attention to?
Maybe they would like to pay attention in, for example, Airbnb is not only for hotels or houses rentals. It also is for new experiences. In this case, I did a cart sorting with a US millennial and told me that what she did was to seek for recommendations on Airbnb experiences and later on go to a local people in the place she was and seek for a cheaper experience based on what she seek before.
Okay, so here perhaps the actual sale is not happening through the app itself, but it's used as an idea generator.
Yeah, like
Okay.
to seek for experiences and to make them feel more like locals, just go to a real local and have that experiences and also a cheaper form of traveling that experience.
Okay, thank you. We actually have another question. This is coming from Luis Carlos. Hi, Luis. He says, I'd like to know what type of features or products are millennials using to book their travels or experiences? So here the features themselves or the products to book travel experiences.
To book travel experiences in the website, I think it's referring to, it will be like, for example, in booking.com, they will rather feel more comfortable booking their activity based on the destiny they will go to, and later on just see if there are any offers based on their dates or budget, and if it's not, they will rather seek from just seeing in social media. They will feel more comfortable in social media rather than that.
Yeah, or actually, other way that the people do is look at an Airbnb and maybe book an experience now that you can also book some activities in the travel you're taking. And also you can, some of the millennials does they research on booking and look at the actual site to see if they have any deals. So mainly they does their research over taking a engine that could be doing their research.
Thank you. So there's actually quite a few questions coming in. Let me see where we are for time. We've got about 8 minutes left booked, so we can go ahead and try to get to them all. I'm sorry, user. I'm not sure what your name is, but I like your question. So we'll go ahead and go with this one. He says, this is a very interesting webinar, and he wants to know how important for you guys. I'm not sure if you guys as millennials or if you, Daniela and Yvonne, but from your research, is the checkout process in the overall experience. I don't know if we want to go back to the slide of the journey map when we talk about this, but the focus on the experience of the checkout process.
You want to talk? No, first you and
In the checkout process, if it doesn't fit their idea of how they are going to feel the experience, they would rather, as I said before, just go to the destination and go to any local people or just seek for any recommendations in social media just to see what they can do. Because if it doesn't fit what they want at the first instance, they will just rather close the website window and go on.
Okay, but let's say we've already got them, they're beginning the booking process, all right, and they're needing, I believe the question is at the actual checkout process. I think maybe perhaps data capture, payment options, those types of things.
Okay, actually, this is a really important step because if you have a lot of fields, I know you need actually to consider the payment and the payment fields and also the personal information of this person. But if it's not actually easy to get over it, they will leave actually because checkout is actually a deal breaker in the most of the sites that required a payment. So yeah, if you say that if it's important, yeah, it's really important because you got everything, and if it's going to be a pain to get your information for a payment, the user is going to leave.
So how do we make that? You said make it an easy process. So what does an easy process look like? What might your suggestion be?
To have the less fields required for this field. Sometimes it's asked more than the need information for get the reservation on the site. So maybe to keep the simple as names and the payment information and the email to get in contact with the user, just to send the bill and all information.
Okay. So this would not be the place to add on any of that extra information or data that we're hoping for. Yep. That should come later on. Like at the actual checkout, it's just get the very basics that you need and then be more creative afterward and trying to obtain other data. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, actually, I think there are some data that actually are not specific. Let's say that you may want more information of the user. Maybe you can ask it afterward, like a review or something like that.
Right.
Maybe ask more information after that. That's what you say, I guess.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And by the way, that question about the checkout process came from Sebastian. Thank you, Sebastian. All right, we're going to go to listener Larissa. She says, do you believe millennials appreciate a travel agent, or would they rather do everything by themselves?
If we could go back to slide number 9, it's almost at the beginning. I have the, yeah. It says, I prefer a personalized booking experience because I have different tastes than the general masters. This refers to they would rather prefer a customized experience rather than have a appreciating a travel agent, because normally travel agent based on your I don't know, in your, how do you say, in the average needs millennial or any other that will travel have, the travel agent just will grab like a package and give it to you. So they would rather prefer to do what they want to do and do everything by themselves.
Okay, thank you. And the final question comes from Victor. He's asking, how much does the economic position affect travelers regarding the places and activities they can and want to visit? Are there financing plans for those who cannot afford a trip to another continent? Okay, so I think there's kind of two questions here. So the first is, what might we be able to do for our users across the board economically? I think those who are trying to travel on a budget versus those who I guess have a rather unlimited budget. And then what about financing plans? Is that something that could or should be considered?
Financing plans, I think it could be considered to afford a trip, because millennials, let's get it real, we are not rich, and sometimes getting a job to get money, it's really difficult right now. So what we want to appreciate more is to have websites to have more offers depending on our budget. So it will be really, it will really affect us. It really affects us in the economic position. So regarding every place or activity, what we want is to have a unique experience, even though if it's not like buying something, just to make us feel like we have any cultural shock for anywhere we go, it will be better.
So I guess I understand this to be offering variety, not necessarily discarding, I guess, providers or suppliers or people that you could work with, right? I mean, some people very well might not have a problem with like a hostile environment, not hostile, but hostile environment, like room sharing or bathroom sharing, or even eating meals in people's homes or those types of things. Like, we can offer that variety. Yeah?
Yeah, actually, also, as you say, it does matter the economic position. But for example, I was taking a look, doing a research on a booking site for a flight, and it was really interesting the way that this site presents the offers. Actually, the engine works really well, and I look for a travel like Norway. I'm in America, so I wanted to travel to Norway, and usually these cost like $140. So when I take a look, it was on $700, and I
$140?
Yeah, yes.
Like, that's the usual price?
No.
Oh.
So I was so shocked, and I was impressed that this kind of sites got these deals. So maybe.
Wait, the usual price is $700, and you were able to find it for $140. Is that what you're saying?
No. It was a. Yeah, they would. Yeah, like
It's usually cheaper.
No, it's usually it costs like $1,040.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I heard you say 140.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so the normal price is over $1,000,
Yeah.
and then you were searching and you were able to see it for $700.
Yeah, I was just doing a research, a usability test, and I found this offer, and I was like, oh my God, this site is actually really good, and also it leaves you to get like notification if you want to get more offers of this travel. So maybe it's something that you can give the option to this millennial, is to keep a track of the offers that may suggest for the travels that they are taking a look for.
Right, which for me, I guess, how might that be handled? Because I remember I believe, Daniela, you mentioned this idea of millennials, and I think like anyone usually, we like to plan, even though we want this experience, and there's this element of, what's the word? I mean, I can't think of the word right now. Spontaneity, to be spontaneous, right? Like at the end of that journey map where it was like, screw it, I'll just figure out what I'm going to do when I get there. But the getting there needs to be very well planned. So if we're wanting to make these offers and these deals, is it in our best interest to make them in the less near future? I mean, further into the future than 3 days from now? I mean, that's the suggestion here.
Actually, it's really interesting because they think that we are so spontaneous and we like everything like on the moment, but no, actually we really plan the things because we want to get advantage of every single minute we have in this new experience, and we want to live everything. So we actually plan everything just to get the chance to know all the things that we want to know in this travel we are taking.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. That is coming then to the end of our questions. Thank you, audience, listeners, for those questions. Daniela, Yvonne, do either one of you have anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up today?
Just to make sure, websites app makes us. Sorry, I didn't know how to say it, but
tip-to-toe experience.
Tip-to-toe travel experience. I would like to say that the last thing we said, even though millennials, we have a reputation of not having everything well planned, or we are not like conscious of what we're doing, we do, and we would rather prefer not random trips and planned trips with your new website or app you're going to make.
Also, we care about the budget.
Yeah.
Really important thing.
Yes, budget friendly. Thank you. It's interesting. I mean, I believe it's 82% of people traveling are millennials, and some of that needs to be budget friendly. But so be creative in ways that help us out. Yeah, I know, I'm kidding. Okay, so perfect. Thank you so much for your time today, folks. If you'd like to know more about this topic or about us at Nearsoft and what we might be able to do for you, please check out the website ux.nearsoft.com. You can also contact Sandra, her at the email address ux-team@nearsoft.com. And if you'd like to reach out to either Daniela or Yvonne today on a more personal level, there are their email addresses as well. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day. Happy apping and happy travels. Bye now.